Is pool court in shape of actually being able to host anything concerning a camp or an international engagement? As Adam says it all.
Yeah,
You've been to pool court, darling?
Yes.
You've played pickup there?
She played a tournament there.
Yeah.
No, she played the tournament.
Yeah.
I'm meaning pickup.
No, yeah. That's like a jungle. It's
you don't want to go into the elbow section whereby fouling is legal.
Yeah. But it's also very far.
Huh?
It's far from where
Who said you stay on the other side?
Yeah.
The court's the other side. How is it there when pickup is there? Is it the same as the court's this side? Pool court, main ground, YMCA, Makerere University Business School, MOOBS, Kabira, KIU. Is the pickup also that intense? Whereby fouling is legal?
I think where I used to play pickup, I used to play at Therese Life. It's near our house. It was more organized than a lot of places because there's like a coach who refs because they first train and they play. So it's more organized, but it's still a bit brutal. You can't be flimsy and go and expect to just get an easy 3 or something. Yeah, yeah.
I like
Your final thoughts, Bronnie. There's a girl out there watching. She wants to get into basketball. She's really not sure. Or there's a girl out there playing basketball, but she wants to get into modeling. She wants to get into a music career. Really not sure what she should do. What would you say to that girl?
I would say, number one, you will never be sure with what you want to do with life. Life is fluid.
Yeah.
As soon as you understand that, life is going to be easy for you. So for me, number one, it's God. I have to pray, I have to talk to God, I have to, he's my moral compass. Yeah. Without him, I wouldn't be here. Number two, family. Make sure that you involve your family in everything that you do. Make sure they're working with you. Have a support system around you in whatever you're going to do. And the one thing I always tell people, go for what you want to do. Live, laugh, love. Yeah. Take the risk. If you don't do it, what are you going to lose? If you do it, you'll probably get it or not get it. Yeah. If you don't do it, you're not going to get it. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Yeah. But you have a 50% chance of making the ones that you take. So yeah, just go for it, whatever it is. And yeah, you can reach out to me on my social media. I have people that I've talked to and maybe helped where I can. And I know we can deep dive into the details of what you want to do. Yeah.
what are you doing as Divine Bamboo to bring this out? And what is youth livelihood and entrepreneurship from your perspective as Divine Bamboo?
So again, I would preface that by saying that the work we don't do by ourselves. We have a good team in-house, obviously, but we also have a network of partners. So for example, we are working with UNDP on a youth empowerment project, and some of our activities included training youth in Kamwokya. So we had a training about a month ago where we trained over 200 youth in Kamwokya, and we want to see how we can bring them on board in the value chain of clean energy. And so our ethos is to meet them where they are. So it's not about preaching, you need to use clean energy, you need to not cut trees, but you need to give them alternatives, and then you also need to show them how that works within their current situation. So for example, if we go to somebody making Rolex or making barbecue, we can show them how if they use our bamboo briquettes, they are cleaner, so there's less smoke and soot, so means better health for them, but also they cook longer, so in the end they're able to have a saving. So it has to be practical for your audience and for the customer.
Good afternoon. It is Slam Dunk Basketball Talk. My name is Felix Elpal. It is a show where we discuss, analyze, and dissect everything that is about the game of basketball. And this particular afternoon, our special guest is Darlene Murungi Tashovia. I'm also with my co-host, Emmanuel Ateng. Darlene, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence, and welcome to Slam Dunk Basketball Talk.
Thank you for having me.
Emma, it has been quite an enormous and also victorious week for Uganda basketball. Our under-15 team was able to win gold at the World Sports Championship down in Serbia.
I think it was a good thing, because looking at all the tournaments that we've been in, the under-16 for the girls, under-16 for the boys, then went down to Kigali to play, you know, the Silverback seniors. And we didn't get where we wanted to, but, you know, crowning the year off with gold at the ISF games, I think that was a very good thing for the boys, and I'm glad, you know, they put us out there on the map, basically.
Darlene, as the assistant captain of the Junior Gazelles, making it out of the group stages after a bad, what I would call actually a bad and terrible start, how was it? To our viewers out there, we are live on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, and also on our website, houseoftalentug.com. Put there your comments, your remarks, your reviews, and any other comments that you may feel like we will be sharing them in the later part of the show.
After the after the loss against Mali, we had to stay motivated, because we couldn't let that determine how the whole tournament was going to be. So right after the game in the bus, we talked about it, and the next day we had a team meeting. We looked at our stats, and with our coaches, of course, and we found the areas that needed to be improved. And when we went for practice, we improved that, and our next game was victorious.
And your journey as a basketball player, getting to love this game, enlighten us and give us some of those dynamics. I'm sure Emma is itching to want to sign you to Angels basketball team, which he coaches.
I already have it in my mind.
He's itching to have your signature, to sign you. So to our viewers out there, just give us your journey in the game of basketball.
Well, I started playing when I was 10. I went for Excel. It was a basketball academy. and I just fell in love with the game, but I stopped playing and I started playing netball, so I stopped basketball completely, maybe camp here.
You shifted from basketball to netball?
Yeah. And I competed, and then I stopped, and I started basketball again, which was kind of hard, because the only thing I could remember to do was shoot because of the muscle memory, of course. But learning to dribble, play defense, it was a process, but it was worthwhile.
Interesting here. Already on my WhatsApp, I have someone texting me, Victoria Antari, she's saying that shouts out to Darlene, product of iHoops.
Yes, I've been going to iHoops for ever since Excel stopped, because it stopped having camps. I started going to iHoops. I've been to maybe 7 camps.
iHoops camps?
Yes. And I
so
also,
that is how you know that people are already watching. They're eager to know. I didn't know that you're actually a product of iHoops.
And I actually still go sometimes if I can, if I don't have school. And yeah, it's good competition, it's fun, and I think everyone should go. It's a good experience.
To the coach who coaches the ladies team, I don't know what questions he has out for you.
No, when you talk about how you switched over from basketball to netball, I've worked under your dad. He was my manager, Warriors basketball. So what was his reaction, you switching from basketball to netball? Because him being a basketballer, did he accept you? Was it more of you have to play basketball, or what was that switch like for you?
Funny story is I didn't actually want to play netball. I wanted to play soccer because it was a competition we're going for. So they told us 2 years in advance, and you pick a sport and you do it, and then So I wanted to play soccer, but he said, if you have to choose between soccer and netball, netball will probably help you in basketball, so why not pick that instead of soccer?
That's interesting. So he was talking about the under-16 tournament that you guys played in, obviously coming off a loss to Mali, then rallying up and going for the later stages. If you're to compare Ugandan basketball with, let's say, basketball from Egypt, basketball from Mali, where would you rate Uganda?
Compared to Mali and Egypt, I think we're not at their level yet, but I know we can be, because their preparation is very thorough, and they really do invest in the youth basketball and take their time to nurture the teams that are coming for the tournament. So in that area we're lacking, because we have the talent, but the preparation for the tournaments is what needs to be worked on.
So we basically have the skill and the talent. We just need to prepare better. Interesting.
And making it out of the group stages, how was that? There was a lot of negative talk on social media. How you as assistant captain and the captain, you are the 2 leaders of the team. How did you handle that amongst the whole group?
There was a time we're having dinner the day we lost to Mali, and we're going through the FUBA page and we're looking at the comments on the post of our loss, and while talking about it, and everyone on the table was getting worked up, and our coach Mavita, and our coach Rogers, came up to us and told us to stop throughout this whole tournament to leave social media and that whole space, because it won't help us, it won't motivate us. If it's not anything positive, we shouldn't put it in. We should just cancel it out and play our game.
So you were off social media during that particular time?
Yes, but when we did watch, like when we were watching the boys' games, the live streams, because we usually wouldn't go to watch, we would see the comments of the games and
the various people, the fans, stakeholders,
and it was horrible, bro, because I just couldn't believe people who aren't actually playing were just saying all these things. But
how are you able to bottle it up? How are you able to handle all of that negative sentiments which were being thrown all over, and you know that people are reading them, the online here down in Uganda, in wherever they are?
Well, at first, we were doubting ourselves. We're like, can we really do this? You know, maybe they are right. Maybe what they're saying is true, that we aren't good enough to be here. They shouldn't have sent us. But I really would like to thank our coaches, because they talk to us and they let us know that, hey, you're better than this, and don't let these comments get to your head. And also our captain, she's a really good leader, and when she saw that we were being when the comments were getting to us, she talked to us, and she really motivated us to be better than them.
I remember we had a discussion here about Priscilla.
The captain.
Priscilla Nambogo.
I was about to ask.
Having a heart of David versus Goliath. Yeah. And Emma, as someone who handles a ladies team, what advice in that particular situation would you have given Darlene if you were the one handling our junior gazelles?
Yeah, first of all,
losing their first game to a blowout margin, and then they have another game, and then social media and everything is actually shooting arrows at them. How would you have gone about it?
First of all, I remember watching that game actually here. It was a Saturday, right?
Yes, it was a Saturday.
And before the game, you asked me who was going to win. I said Uganda, you know, and I was sticking to my guns. I was like, Uganda. But at halftime, the scores were like, yo, this is just, this is crazy.
Only 2 points.
Yeah, it was just
actually
2 points.
20 minutes.
Yeah. And basically the comments were just going off on Facebook, on Instagram. And if I was a coach in that situation, basically coming off a loss, basketball is a win and a losing game. Okay, one team has to win, one team has to lose. Okay, so you sit down your players and you tell them, listen, this is what happened in the first game. Okay, but that does not take away your skill, your talent as a basketballer. That cannot leave you. Okay, for the work you've been putting in. Okay, you can always do better. Maybe the other team prepared a bit more. Maybe they had better players, a better structure, whatever it is. Okay, but you can't live in the past. Take the loss and let's prepare for the next game. Okay, that's basically what I tell them. Losing is part of basketball, right? It's how you come back from a loss that matters. If you decide to say, you know what, we lost the first game, let's just go and lose the whole tournament, actually no use for you to be there, you know. But I like the way you guys actually bounced back into the other games. It was pretty amazing. Yeah. So don't live in the past, basically. Work for what's coming forward.
Talking about moving forward, how are you moving forward in terms of basketball?
Well, I've been training every day. I train with my coach, Coach Omo. And
where do you train from?
At home.
Oh,
yes.
So you have a hoop at home?
Yes.
Most parents actually should get hoops at home.
Do
you have a hoop at home?
No. But if Tashobia didn't have a hoop at home, would also say a lot.
Continue going.
I think to better prepare myself, I need to start playing more with people and the whole team dynamic, because that's an area I think I'm weak at when it comes to playing in an actual team, because I trained a lot by myself, and that isn't really helpful when you have to actually play with 4 other people on court. Yeah, so right now I'm just looking for a way to be able to play, because now with the whole COVID situation it's a bit tricky. But yeah, that's the status right now.
So you train at home, but you don't have like teams that you're training with?
Yeah, not
in
yet.
terms of locally here, you haven't featured for any of the local teams?
No.
Yes. Tell me, which team would you want to actually play with or join or be a part of, or which team do you actually admire and like, I think I should play with this particular bunch of players?
For the teams I admire, KCCA, JKL, UCU.
Basically the top 3.
The top 3. But also Nabisunsa, because a lot of our players are from...
They're not doing very well.
Yeah, but every time they come, they play, and even if they beat them...
They put up a very good fight.
Yeah, even if they beat them 2-90, they'll still come back for the next game motivated and ready to give their best, and that's very admirable.
Oh, so you'd wish to play with Nabiswinsa?
No. But I admire their work.
You admire how they play. You admire
Yeah.
how Nabiswinsa play.
Yes.
Okay. And which team would you wish to play with? You mentioned the top three. You mentioned JKL. You mentioned UCU Lady Cannons. You mentioned KCCA Leopards. She's taking a peek. She's taking a peek.
But before you think about it, you should think about Angels basketball.
Yes, I
We have
have.
Tony Drileba, national
Yeah.
team player, as one of the coaches. So
Yeah.
He
trained us at Ivy.
but his team is losing. Falcons is not doing well.
I know a few people in Angels actually, and yeah, I would want
yeah,
to.
Peace
join.
is actually
yeah.
there. Yeah,
Peace and Martha, right?
yeah, Peace Martha is there.
Yeah, no, I would join Angels.
So, you train alone at home. Why wouldn't you invite some of the national team players that you are with to come and actually train with you, or have a drill out?
We have pickup sometimes. We
Okay.
come and play together, but I also live very far. I live out of town, so maybe that would be hard.
Oh.
Yeah, I live in Lebois, so it's a bit far, and I do have friends that live near me, so we train together sometimes. Yeah.
Oh, so you train together sometimes. Emma, what should be done? The league is meant to be resuming. I don't know what plans Angels basketball ladies team has in place. Enlighten our viewers. Remember, we are live on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on our on our YouTube channel. Feel free to put your remarks, your comments, your questions. Our special guest today is Darlene Murungi Tashobia, the assistant captain to the Junior Gazelles.
Yeah, I think first line of business would be to sign Darlene. That would be a good thing. Think about it. Yeah, but league is supposed to resume. Angels basketball never stop practicing. We always practice. Yeah, so we have 3 sessions: Tuesday, Thursday. We have skill sessions. Then on Sundays, we have 3-on-3 tournaments, like internal tournaments, plus 5-on-5 internal tournaments. Basically, to keep the girls in playing shape, because you don't want there to be a long gap, then they tell you the league is beginning and you have to prepare in 3 weeks, that would be kind of hard. So we've kept them basically in playing condition. Yeah. So even if the league resumed tomorrow, it would be good to go because the girls are really prepared. Just a few things here and there, get to remember the plays, get to, run a bit. But apart from that, the girls are ready to play. And if the league resumes, we're good to go.
It is Slam Dunk Basketball Talk. My name is Felix Seopal. We'll be returning after this short break with your comments, your reviews, and your remarks.
People at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes.
Prince.
a lot has been happening in the game of basketball. First of all, as Slam Dunk Basketball would like to first thank the Silverbacks for doing the nation proud and for making it to the first time in the quarterfinals of the Afro Basketball Championship down in Kigali. It was a tough task, and history was made when the Silverbacks, our boys, were able to beat on Nigeria. Welcome back to the second part of Slam Dunk Basketball Talk. My name is Felix Elpal. Our special guest today is Darlene Murungi Tashovia, the assistant captain of the Junior Gazelles, and I am also with my co-host Emmanuel Teng. Darlene, tell us about the fun parts of Nairobi off court. What was interesting? You know, there's lots of activity that happens off court, and the excitement and everything. What was it like?
It was interesting because you got to meet a lot of people, talking to the coaches and asking them about their stories and their history with sports. It was really good, you know, and just maybe doing activities with the team, because we did a lot of basketball, but we also did a lot of team building sessions,
In these team building sessions, what was actually going on?
Well, sometimes we'd play games, like before in the morning we'd play games to kind of loosen up the nerves, because the first day everyone was so tense. So we did a bit of games and also, you know, just interacting, talking, sharing each other's stories, you know, getting to know each other. Yeah.
So it was like a great team bonding.
Yeah.
Ah, that's interesting. Angels Basketball Club should actually pick a leaf and...
I think we're the only team in the league that does these things. Bonding
the
sessions.
only team in the league that does... Angels Basketball team does bonding sessions.
Yeah, we have cake sessions, we have juice sessions,
Well,
outings, we have all these things.
At the start of the season, Power Basketball team had a bonding session, which was a retreat, but it ended up in a 5-game losing streak.
That happens. Yeah.
So I'm wondering the sessions that Angels is doing.
Our sessions are really good because we actually have a hashtag that we beyond the game. Most of the teams just focus on what's happening on the basketball court, but basically basketball, I believe 50% of basketball is what's happening off the court. Because if I have a player who's not okay emotionally, maybe spiritually, whatever it is, they won't give me 100% on the court. But if I can take care of them off the court, you know, give them small incentives, a party here, a party there, cake sessions here and there, basically let them know that they're part of the team, let them know that they're loved. Then such a player is going to give me 100% on the court. Yeah? So we do those things at Angels. For anyone watching out there, join Angels Basketball Club.
Well, Angels is actually trying to do some very good things that should be happening out there. Darlene, still, moving forward, do you aspire to play further, or do you want to take a different direction? You said that previously you played, then you went into netball, then actually had to make another turn back. So tell the viewers out there what it is that you may want or desire in terms of sports.
In terms of sports, I still would want to play. Like at a national level, I want to play on the senior Gazelles team, and I also want to play college basketball, and maybe play in the EuroLeague. But I do want to come back and improve basketball in Uganda, because there's so much potential here, and if I go and play for France, that doesn't really help me or help my country, because they're not improving in any way. So yeah.
Oh, so you have aspirations of actually playing in the Euro League, in our national league, and also improving the game of basketball. Emma, very, very, very good intentions and very good roadmap that is from our assistant captain of the junior Gazelles.
Yeah, but what I would like to ask, so you want to improve Claire Lamuno. I think one of the best players we have in the country now. She's doing a project, I think, that will be released soon. She's building a couple of courts up in Gulu. So you've seen basketball outside Uganda. You went to the FIBA youth camp just a week ago, I think. You've been at the under 16. You've played with international players and all these things. So what are some of those things that we are not doing as Uganda, that teams are doing outside there, that different organizations are doing outside there, that we can basically copy, or start doing to make youth basketball basically better?
One of the things that really needs to be done is just investing, because investing in the youth and being deliberate and cautious about it, because when we're going to Cairo, we only had 3 days of training before.
3 days?
3 days as a team to train. They just told us we're going to ABU and you're going to train. So
it's very minimal.
Yeah, very minimal. And also maybe looking for talent everywhere, like how Claire is building courts in Gulu. Yes, that's nurturing a lot of talent that usually you wouldn't be able to find if you didn't make steps like that to actually do it. So more things like that, and also we need to have parents believing in their children, you know, understanding that you can balance education and basketball and they can coexist and you can be good at both, you know. And just keep just believing in the sport and what it can do for people.
That's quite interesting. One of the comments here, actually, which has also been repeated by a number of people, is there was the Nairobi camp, Africa Youth camp was for boys. Only the host nation was allowed to have a girls team. Have someone here called Victoria Moreme, asking how was she able to get into the camp, yet it was only for the host nation.
Well, I was only able to get into the camp because not me, but my dad made a request and asked if he could sponsor me to go, because he knew it would be a good opportunity. And I'm very blessed to be able to do things like that, because he does work in FIBA. And so he asked if I could go and he would sponsor me and pay for the flight there and everything, just for the exposure. So when I went, I knew I couldn't be mediocre. I had to give my best, because already I wasn't budgeted for, to say the least. So it wasn't like they only picked me like I was special in any sense. No, I got the opportunity because my dad, he knew the right people, to say the least, and I had to take advantage of I took the advantage of the opportunity.
Impressive. You were lucky. There was an opportunity. There was also the chance. There were also the resources, and most importantly, when you went down there, you actually displayed your best. You gave it your all, and you were able to make the top 5. Emma, what does that say about the other talent, the other girls out there who might not have that exact opportunity, chance, or resource?
The thing I know about basketball, there's a saying that preparation, when you prepare, equals opportunity. So when opportunity comes and finds you prepared, it clicks, She's been practicing basketball since she was 10, played on the under 16. So it's not a surprise that she actually went for that camp, even if your dad knew a few people here and there, but still your skill took you there, your talent took you there. And for the girls out there, I know it's a very hard thing for girls to basically prepare by themselves, to work out by themselves. It takes a very high level of discipline. They always need people running behind them, pushing them here and there. And when opportunity comes and they're not ready, you can't make it anywhere. Yeah. So for the girls out there, push yourselves. I know there's a lot of boys right now on the basketball court. The Matthew Kisaches, the under 6. These guys are always practicing. Yeah. And you can see the fruits
in the morning, and the only thing is basketball.
Yeah. And you can see the fruits of their labor, winning gold at the ISF. So for the girls out there, don't wait to be pushed. Don't wait for a coach to tell you to get into the basketball court. Prepare, because you never know what opportunity is coming. These days, you know, the NBA has a lot of camps that are coming up. I believe that the FIBA Youth Camp is going to be a yearly thing. So next year might be another girl's opportunity. All right. But if she's not ready for it, then that's another issue. So yeah, the girls should prepare, get ready for what's coming. And I think now they actually have time, because most of the girls are not in school with this whole lockdown and corona situation. So they should use this time to better improve themselves, you know, as basketballers. Yeah.
The images that you've been seeing there are of Darlene Murungi Tashobia in action, which are actually on the screen at the moment as I speak. And for the viewers out there on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on our website, houseoftalentuganda.com, the FIBA Africa Camp that just was concluded in Nairobi is the inaugural session. It is the first of its kind, and it is going to be continuing, and it's also continuing in other countries. It is in actually Senegal, and later in next year, NBA is going to be coming on board for that camp. This was what you'd call the litmus test of it, to see how it is going to happen. Fortunately, our boys were not able to make it to the final cut, but we have one of our very own assistant captain of the Junior Gazelles who made it to that particular camp. So that is how the dynamics of that work. And for the World Sports Championship, it is a championship that has been ongoing, and the requests are sent to FUBA to actually select players who should be going down, who they believe have the right athleticism, the right skills to actually make part of it. However, Emma, the ironic bit about this is that the federation was actually sitting duck in all this. The federation did not do anything, and it is the parents and other well-wishers of the selected players who actually came up to ensure that the trip happens to Serbia and back. The boys will be returning, for our viewers, next week. They will be returning on Monday. Now, what does that say of a federation and of a FUBA president, Mr. Nasa Serenjoji, whose speech and chorus has been grassroots development of the game of basketball?
Well, I think we should say that most of the money was used for the Silverbacks down in Kigali.
The money lender is still owing us.
Yeah, but I mean, we've reached a point in basketball where if the federation can't help you, someone else has to. And, you know, I'm thankful to parents, you know, like Mr. Tashobia and the other parents who, you know, took a step forward to sponsor these kids to go, you know, and live their dreams, basically achieve their dreams. Because, I mean, if you keep working out and then, you know, there's nothing to show for it, it's a hard thing. You can lose motivation. But if there are parents that are stepping in to sponsor these kids and, you know, take them out to different places, you know, have them explore their talent, it's a good thing. As for FUBA, FUBA always has financial problems. Yeah,
it has always been the case. You can see the images right there on your screen.
These are for the NBA Youth Camp.
Yes, and you can see our champions there who are returning next week. They won gold in Serbia World School Sports Championship 3-on-3. Yeah, Coach Jonathan Egau. We will be hosting them very soon here at Slam Dunk Basketball. The entire crew will be down here. That is the team when they were down in Nairobi. You can see them with Coach Ronnie Mutebi and Coach Smiths.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, if we have more of these camps, I want one of these camps to come down to Uganda, actually, because it will give an opportunity to more of the kids down in Uganda.
Where are you going to host the camp from? If it is here in Uganda?
The ABU.
The indoor arena is off bounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. by NCS.
Yeah.
So where is the camp going to be?
I mean, we can always renovate. We have courts in Makerere University. UCU has
Pool
good
court.
courts.
Pool court is not in a situation where David is also actually laughing about it. Is pool court in shape of actually being able to host anything concerning a camp or an international engagement? As Adam says it all.
Yeah,
You've been to pool court, darling.
Yes.
You've played pickup there?
She played a tournament there.
Yeah.
No, she played the tournament.
Yeah.
I'm meaning pickup.
No, yeah. That's like a jungle. It's
You don't want to go into the elbow section whereby fouling is legal.
Yeah. But it's also very far.
Huh?
It's far from where
Who said you stay on the other side?
yeah.
The courts the other side, how is it there when pickup is there? Is it the same as the courts this side? Pool court, main ground, what's it called? YMCA, Makerere University Business School, MOOBS, Kabira, KIU. Is the pickup also that intense? Whereby fouling is legal?
I think where I used to play pickup, I used to play at Therese Life. It's near our house. It was more organized than a lot of places because there's like a coach who refs because they first train and they play. So it's more organized, but it's still a bit brutal. You can't be flimsy and go and expect to just get an easy 3 or something. Yeah, yeah.
I like her use of diction. It is brutal. Why is it that at pickup, to our viewers out there watching us here in Uganda and in the diaspora, pickup is basketball terminology whereby you go on court and you actually divide yourselves among a bunch of players. It might be 3 against 3 or 4 against 4 or 5 against 5, and then you play a fun game whereby you set a certain limit of who wins the game. It might be who scores the first 5 baskets wins, or who scores the first 7 baskets wins. So in basketball terminology, that is what we define as pickup.
I like how you say the fun game. In some places it's not a fun game.
Yeah, some places it's not fun.
Yeah, like at pool court, it's not fun. We're trying to win.
But there's no prize at the end of the day.
No, the prize is bragging rights.
Yeah,
we get
pride.
to go home with the bragging rights here.
It is slam dunk basketball. When we return, we talk about the league actually not resuming, which is very sad for the basketball lovers and stakeholders out there, but the lower league division will be resuming. Your comments, your reviews, please send them in. We'll return after this short break.
People at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes.
one game, one sport, brotherhood, and when you go out there and you put out your hearts and you play great, yes.
I like that East African basketball has really grown, you know, represented by Uganda, South Sudan, by Rwanda, and by Kenya. I know Tanzania is still lagging behind a bit, and Burundi is yet to come, but, you know, having 4 of these teams from East Africa making it all the way, to the second round is a very good thing. It shows that there's positivity, you know, in African basketball. It's really growing.
And in the region,
yes,
mostly.
in the region. That is what we need to see. I think in no time we're going to have a lot of players, you know, in the NBA, you know, playing in other leagues. And FUBA, we should really pick a leaf from what, you know, Ferwaba has done. And yeah, like you said, let's break it down, rebuild it.
Yeah, but in my view, it's not about just taking out the carpet so that you can sweep the dust there. We shouldn't actually pick a leaf from Bayimba. We should pick a tree. We should take the entire tree
with its roots.
Yes. Welcome back. It is the final segment of Slam Dunk Basketball Talk. Our special guest today is Darlene Murungi Tashobya, as I already introduced her. We've been having quite an interesting talk about the various developments that have been happening in Ugandan basketball, the journey down in Nairobi, and also our championship. Uganda won gold at the World Sports Championship down in Serbia. Although, Emma, something which is actually not interesting, which actually we have always discussed about, our level of preparation and how the boys got there. Speaking to Coach Nicholas Natoreza, also the technical director of the Federation of Uganda Basketball Association, FUBA, he tells me the players were selected and had a 1-week training at Fusion Sports. And after that, they selected the coaches. And after the selection, there was a short list, and finally, Jonathan Egao was the man selected as head coach. For the ladies, for the girls who went down in Nairobi, it was not actually the work of the federation. Although the federation wants to take credit for that, which actually is rather absurd. The selection was based on FIBA. The boys went on a different assessment, and so did the coaches, because they were going through trainings. And finally, Coach Ronnie Mutebi was selected amongst all the coaches that were able to submit their papers from the coaches of Uganda. And my question, which actually I'm putting out to the VP Marketing, I believe he's always watching. VP Marketing, Anud Katabi, in charge of marketing and advertising and publicity of the Federation. All this information is not churned out. As media, we get backsided and we have to actually hunt for this information. How can we make this better? We are in a situation whereby the National Basketball League is not going to resume. It's going to resume next year. Now, how can we put our house in order?
Well, when it comes to publicity, I always like what the Americans do with their players. From the time a player is in middle school, okay, they're already telling us that the next big thing is coming. Yeah, so they put out their players there. They publicize not only the players but everything that happens. When you mention basketball, what's the first league that comes to your head? NBA, right? NBA. Then the WNBA, then Euro somewhere there. Okay, so they've done a lot when it comes to publicity, which we're not doing here. I mean, we hardly got any information of what happened down with the Silverbacks in Kigali. We're getting half information about the hotel. We're getting snippets of information. Yes. Yeah? And that's not a good way to do things. The basketball fans, whichever stakeholders there in basketball, we really need to get information on what's happening. Okay, with every category, be it the under 16, be it the Lady Gazelles, be it the national team. We need information as people, because with that information, that's how we're going to know which of our players we need to take for different camps. Okay, we need to know what kind of improvements the players are doing and all these things. So, to Arnold, Mr. Katabi, don't hide from the people. The people need to know what's happening. I think up to now, the FUBA website is not really up.
FUBA website is not up.
Yeah.
It's up, but it's dormant.
Okay, it's up, but it's dormant. So
basically, you actually conclude that it is when you go to physics laws, it is no work done.
Yeah. So if I wanted to get to know the under 16 players in Uganda, okay, let's say I'm a FIBA scout, so I go to the FUBA website and it's not there.
Yeah, let's say I need video of Darlene, I need video of another player, I need video of Priscilla.
And it's not there. Yeah. So they lose that opportunity because that information is not made public. So I think apart from just playing the game of basketball, there are all these other dynamics that you have to look at. And publicity these days with social media now, okay, that's one of the things that FUBA has to put out there, okay, especially for the young ones, okay. For the older players, I mean, we can always find ways of doing it. But for the young players, for them to get opportunity, we need to put them out there, let them be visible. Let me go on the internet, search for Darlene and, find she has been at this camp, that camp, these are, the things she's doing.
Highlights, these are her statistics.
Yeah. And as someone, let's say from FIBA, from the NBA, from WNBA, it would be easier for me to pick a player like that. But if I have no idea who they are and what they're doing, it's always a hard thing.
Darlene, so many things have been mentioned world over concerning ladies basketball. And here in Uganda, it is the same story. Ladies basketball is not up there as men's basketball. You said at the start of the show, you would love to also come into administration of basketball after being a player, or also helping out to develop the ladies game. What do you think should be done in your view?
I think there should be there needs to be more leadership where ladies are actively appreciated, because if you think of FUBA and who the people that, who work in it and who are the heads and like the faces of FUBA, you don't typically think of a woman. You don't know, there's no, maybe there is, but not known as much as she should be.
We have a FIBA woman commissioner, Joy Oringa.
Yes. But we need more names like that. We need
a FIBA woman commissioner.
Yes, we met her in Cairo. Yeah. She's a great person. And we need more people like that, more people with influence being in power, because the more people do that, the more the younger generation gets inspired and actually believes they can. Because if you only see men in power and then you become accustomed to it, and you're like, that position only men can get into it, or it's not attainable for me because I'm a woman. And also we need to have more belief in ourselves and our skill, and also not believe the norm that that our gender can't, because we're women, we can't be able to do certain things, Yeah.
Oh, so that needs to be done. Interesting things here. I have someone here by Sekajoolo asking, what was the most annoying thing about the tournament? My sister was on that team.
Which, oh.
I think that would be the under 16.
So, their views from the viewers' remarks. What was the most annoying thing? And,
apart from the loss,
leave the loss alone and everything.
That's a tough question.
It's really a tough question. Definitely, every time there's someone who could be on the team and you just say, this person is always annoying, this person is always speaking my stuff, this person is...
So I went for when I played for the under 18, so they always give breakfast, right? And the breakfast is like full course meal. So
self-service.
One of the coaches like, you guys shouldn't eat that much because we're going for a game and we went and lost the game. So minds are like, we should have eaten.
Eaten the whole food.
Yeah. So for me, that was one of the annoying things that happened that time. Yeah.
So Dalin, enlighten us. What were those annoying moments? Don't worry, the coach is not here.
This is tough, but maybe if what we would do...
Those annoying moments, of course.
We would do trainings, in Cairo, and sometimes I fell victim to this though. We would do this one particular drill, and it was just running the lanes and how to transition from defense to offense, and we did that thing every time, and there would always be someone, and one time it was actually me who didn't know where I was supposed to be, and then would keep doing it, and then they would shout at us, That was just one of the things that, if I had to point out anything.
And back when you went back to the hotel, who is that player that just kept the entire group happy? So is that player who is like the comical person in the entire group?
Must be Priscilla.
Yeah, it was Priscilla. I think the majority of our players.
Who the player that always looked at everything as though, no, it's a simple situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't
Mariam.
sweat about it.
Mariam, she was that person, I would say. Also, Sarah, Namale, Priscilla, of course. I think everyone was just so, no one was like, that serious person, they go to their room, they sleep, they come back, and they're only training. Everyone was, interactive, light-hearted, so.
Priscilla was, the few games that I watched at KIU courts, whenever Nemsonsa was playing, she always says this thing, Tuba Sobola.
Yeah.
Was that the attitude that she still had down there?
Yeah.
Tuba Sobola.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to, because already when we got into the tournament, that loss, we played the first game of the tournament and they beat us 90-12. We couldn't be the team, we couldn't stay being the team that just was like the beatable team, because in every tournament they has
Everyone
to be...
was like, this is the team where I'm going to pick points
from. Get that 2 points from our win. So, we needed to have someone like Priscilla, who was always ready to encourage us, be a captain.
Lead the ship.
Lead the ship.
Emma, as we're getting to the final part and closure of the show, the National Basketball League is actually in balance. JKL, JKL, KIU Titans, and City Oilers are not willing to resume. NASA Serunjiji Fuba president put out a letter cancelling the resuming, beg your pardon to our viewers, the resuming of the National Basketball League. Because teams are required to pay 600,000 shillings to restart, and a bare minimum of 8 teams had to register by Monday of this week. And that did not happen. So the NBL was cancelled. The lower division will go on. Speaking to the chairman and president of City Oil basketball team, Muhammad Santur, his reasoning, according to the committee that runs the team, is they have BAL coming on, that is the Basketball Africa League, and then we also have, as a nation, Silverbacks, we have the World Cup qualifiers, which are coming also at the end of November. And 4 of the players on his team, that is Jimmy Enabu, Tony Dweliba, James Okelo, and Ben Komakech, are on the local best players who are on the national team.
Yeah.
Where does that put our league? I believe Falcons should be happy. The league is not starting. You have survived relegation. Congratulations.
No, first of all, we're not going to be relegated. Yeah. I can't say I'm a prophet, but remember I told you that this league will not resume. Yeah. Citing first of all the 600K the guys had to pay, then the tests for COVID, then paying your players, and some people.
The 600,000 was meant to cater for the tests according to FUBA. If a team paid the 600,000 shillings,
Yeah.
FUBA will do the testing for the teams.
Yeah, but that would be
every before a game.
Yeah.
That is what was in writing.
Yeah, but we both know that wouldn't happen. Yeah, so it was a tricky situation for certain teams. So the league not resuming, we could say it's been almost 2 years that we've had a very shaky league, and other nations have moved on. Rwanda moved on, Kenya moved on. People are actually playing with the whole situation of COVID and lockdown, and to know that Uganda is not really that engaged in basketball is kind of terrifying, because what happens to the younger players who are supposed to come up, and play in the league? We also have young players now. The Nabisunsa team are in the top league. So what happens to them? They're not playing anymore. Yeah. What happens to those other young players who are just joined the bigger teams?
And it's also very frustrating for the other teams, because other teams are ready to play.
Yeah.
Coach Nicholas Natareza was telling me they are ready to play, even if they tell them the game is tomorrow.
Yeah.
He told me, my boys have been training, my girls have been training.
Yeah.
We have been training down at campus.
Yeah.
We are good to go, as long as the federation says fixtures out. But the fixture is already out. Why would they have to make another fixture? Those are the questions whereby you, Nasa Serunjoji, Hudson Segamoinge, the General Secretary, and Arnold Katabi need to put their house in order.
Yeah.
The fixture was already out. Teams know which games they are supposed to play. Why do you still have to reshuffle them?
Okay, this is what I think should happen. Okay, we have 7 teams that are confirmed to play for the men, and the ladies, I'm not sure how many. So why not just hold the tournament?
No, the ladies teams engaged. All confirmed they're willing to play.
Yeah, so if all the ladies teams confirmed,
none of the ladies teams pulled out. So
the ladies teams should continue with the league as is. For the 7 teams of the men that actually confirmed to play, why not just hold a tournament, so that at least we have some basketball engagement happening before the year ends, because we don't know what's going to happen next year. Would be in the same situation or not. So let's have some basketball going on. I mean, there's always a plan B to everything. So how about we move to plan B and get these people engaged? Let the guys play. Yeah.
Darlene, as we wind up Slam Dunk Basketball Talk this particular afternoon, there's so many people watching you out there. There are so many of your peers, your friends. There's so many girls who may not be live at the moment but will watch you later. What inspiration or words of advice can you give them as we wind up?
To believe in yourself and believe in your skill and your potential to be a good player, because I know there were times when I didn't think I could do it and I wanted to give up, but then my dad, he was there, he pushed me, he would wake me up for training in the morning. When the last day before I had, shots weren't dropping. You just need to have, and you need to have that self-drive, but you also need to have support. So seek for support from your parents. Don't be shy to bring up the idea of, can I go for training today? Or maybe can I get a basketball and be dribbling? Because you need to be able to not make excuses for yourself. That's a thing that a lot of people subconsciously do. They're like, well, I don't have a court at home, so I can't do anything. But you can get a basketball and learn to dribble, Then when you actually are able to access a court, you'll have a starting point, And also to, just if you love something, give it your all. Because I know there was a time when I played basketball, but I didn't love it, so I was just going with the flow, not really. I didn't have any sense of direction. I didn't have any goal. But when I started setting goals for myself and actively trying to reach them, that's when I actually started seeing results, like with the national team. I set that as a goal, and you know, it paid off when I got to play, and also the Kenya camp. Because the second I came back from Cairo, you know, I was sleeping one morning. I had slept. I'd come back. It was the second day I'd been back. I hear a knock at my door. It's my dad. Get up, coach is coming in 30 minutes. Be ready. You know, you have to be able to do that for yourself, or have someone who's willing to do that for you. And you know, just look for opportunities to play. I know there's like a lot of people who can't, you know, it's not as simple as just waking up, you know, getting a driver to take you somewhere. But you know, look around. Maybe your area there's like a place you can go for pickup. Maybe you can borrow someone's ball. You know, just if you want it enough, you'll be able to put in the work. Yeah.
So finally, your best moment and your lowest moment at the tournament. Emma, I think that is fair enough as a coach. Isn't it?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. Best moment at the tournament or the youth camp, and your lowest moment, and we wrap it up. Or even also, you can say hi to perhaps your best friend.
My best moment, let's start with that, was our game against Egypt in the semis. I was a top scorer that game, and that was the first game where I felt like I actually showed. You hustle played. Yeah, where I actually showed my skill. Because the other games, it was like I was there, but you know, I was just like another player, and it was like my time to shine, I guess, in that game. Even though we lost, but you know I played well. My lowest moment was probably our first game against Mali, because psychologically that took a toll. Like losing 92-12 it does something to you, you know. And also our loss against Algeria in the semis, that because when we wanted third place and then we just lost by 2 points, and the game before we'd also lost by 2 points, and you know, you just keep thinking about the shot you didn't make in the game. What difference it could have
dropped, it would have been a different story.
Yeah, and I don't think I gave my best in that game. I didn't rise to the challenge when it came to understanding how serious it was to get that position for our country and for me as an individual and as a team. So that was definitely my lowest. Yeah.
Emma, your last word as we wrap this up.
I'd just like to talk. She was talking about the parents. We have parents out there who, you know, parents have this thing of, you know, you can't balance books and basketball. Yeah, but I think it's something that can be balanced. She's doing it. I've done it before. And so to the parents out there, encourage your kids. It might not even be basketball. You know, it could be any sport, anything your kid loves. Don't take it away from them. They can balance that with the books that they're doing. So encourage the kids, push them, because like the Bible says, you'll never know what will work out for you. The basketball might work out, the books might not, okay? Both might work out. So for the parents out there, push the kids, let them get to a place where, you know, they're the best of what they can be. Yeah.
My name is Felix Opal. It has been Slam Dunk Basketball. To the basketball lovers out there, unfortunately, the National Basketball League at the moment is not going to be ongoing or restarting because the teams were not able to make quorum. Our special guest this particular afternoon has been Darlene Murungi-Tashobya and my co-host Emmanuel Ateng. Thank you so much. Catch you next time.
What can the men do, okay, to promote women's sports, or basketball for that matter?
Yes, so today morning, someone told me, he made research, actually my brother, that these days the NBA actually facilitates the WNBA games to see that they're also somewhere. How about the NBL men starts doing something, not totally like investing in and all that, but it can be with the support system. It can be one very good thing, seeing that creating more opportunities for these ladies, putting up different games like, so as like women can be like seen or showing that these guys also like care. It can start with support, and then with time they can also like recommend whoever facilitates them to like partially have his thoughts somewhere on the women's team, so that like they can all go about like together in solidarity. I think that can work. I don't think it's something big. It can start with support and then financially with time.
What are you doing as Divine Bamboo to bring this out? And what is youth livelihood and entrepreneurship from your perspective as Divine Bamboo?
So again, I would preface that by saying that the work we do, we don't do by ourselves. We have a good team in-house, obviously, but we also have a network of partners. So for example, we are working with UNDP on a youth empowerment project. And some of our activities included training youth in Kamwocha. So we had a training about a month ago where we trained over 200 youth in Kamwocha. And we want to see how we can bring them on board in the value chain of clean energy. And so our ethos is to meet them where they are. So it's not about preaching, you need to use clean energy, you need to not cut trees, but you need to give them alternatives. And then you also need to show them how that works within their current situation. So for example, if we go to somebody making Rolex or making barbecue, we can show them how if they use our bamboo briquettes, they're cleaner, so there's less smoke and soot, so means better health for them, but also they cook longer, so in the end they're able to have a saving. So it has to be practical for your audience and for the customer.
So I think that we're here to touch people. Spiritually, it's that we're here to reflect, the goodness of our Creator onto others. What people call shining your light. Okay, so if that's the end goal, then that's what should excite you. What should excite people is the betterment of others. Now that's counterintuitive because you might think it's actually the betterment of yourself, but in the betterment of others, you become better yourself. So it's one of those counterintuitive links that you actually have to be selfless for you to become better. So for me, that's what excites me, and most of what I've done has been, when I said my who, has been focused on my who. Because I know that as they grow and as they become better themselves, inevitably I'm becoming better. And there are many ways to explain that. You've had parents that say, how your kid turns out is a reflection of your efforts. Or leaders in corporate environments, you're just as good as your team. because that's a reflection of your leadership. And so it's this constant thing that it's actually not about you. It's counterintuitive, but it's never about you. It's always about, you know, the betterment of others. And if you focus on that, then, you know, the betterment of self will just manifest. So that excites me. I know that sounds abstract.
I don't think so, actually, really. I think you're in a good place.
But that's, you know, that's what it is. That's what it is. I'm not looking for much in my life. Like, I live a very simple life, and I'm quite, you know, comfortable in a good way. We used to say uncomfortably excited.
Let me take this opportunity. I know everybody is watching me. My fellow Ugandans, my fellow youth, my fellow brothers and sisters, please, everything is possible. You can never regret before you die. I know people, they have degrees, masters and what, but they are looking for something to do. They are waiting for their applying for job opportunities. But you can create your own project. You can create it. You understand? You can do something, because for me, I came from the foot of the mountain. You understand? Everything is possible. So, however much you have a degree, you have what? You will be keeping on looking for job. No jobs. But you can start with something small. Think what you can do. Everything you can do. You can start with something small. You have seen the way how for me I started. I think you saw the park, the small park, which I started with. Now check. Right now Uganda is proud of that park. But I thought that park was mine at the beginning. I thought, man, I've made this park. But the day when I realized it, that is the time when the community came together and said, from the community, that park is no longer for the community. At the beginning, it was mine. It jumped off from me. It went to the community. It jumped away from the community. It went for Nakawa. It jumped from Nakawa. So now it's for the whole Uganda. You understand? But remember where I started from. That's why I say, my fellow Ugandans, my fellow brothers and sisters, sit, think what you can do. It can expand at any time.
And now DIT, that's the reason why DIT is coming in, because we've tried to create this awareness that the designers or the tailors must be supported in this industry, and also other stakeholders. Because being a fashion president, I'm not just talking about designers being a designer, but all the industry I'm talking about. The people who supply us machines, we have Kiembe, Kiembe sewing machines. We have the people supplying us with fabrics. We have people teaching. We need journalists, people who can talk right about fashion, present nice pictures, not the pictures that people aim at, taking knickers for the models. Yeah. That's not what we are looking at. We are trying to address it nicely and properly. Yeah. So the reason why I'm doing that, abantu basobole okwekkiririzamu that guno omulimu gwa bbeeyi. DIT has already assessed us and many other centers that have been put outside there for people, the tailors who are already skilled, to go and be assessed so they can be accredited. If you have good thoughts, maybe you have a birowozo ebirungi you want to table in the parliament, you can as well be able to stand as a parliamentary, as an MP. You get a point. But before, luli babadde batuita omutunzi. Batunzi. Like minimizing. When you fail exams, try okutunga. It's not for failures. This is for really genuine people with brains, because there's a lot of mathematics, there's so much geometry, statistics in clothing. Come on, you cannot fail elsewhere and think you're going to try. Try it, decide. Yeah.
Welcome to the Creative Industry Talk. My name is Eddie Okila. On this fine particular day where we get to discuss, the performing arts in Uganda, all across Africa, and of course, looking into the new Africa-France relationship. What does it really mean to the performing art? Of course, we are going through, the series of discussing the new French relationship with Africa, or the new Africa-French relationship. I don't know which one the other one makes sense, but yes. And of course, to join me in this discussion this morning is a resident panelist. He was here last week. He broke quite a number of things down for those of you who are creative and in the creative art industry. Faisal Kiwewa is the founder and artistic director of Bayimba Cultural Foundation, straight out of Kampala to the rest of the world. Is the foundation doing great stuff. Bayimba for many of the festivals they've been holding all these years. And of course, Faisal is more qualified to be part of this conversation. Faisal, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Eddie.
Yes, and good to have you here. You traveled from the island back to Kampala this morning. You ran into some very interesting things with the policeman controlling traffic. You are the one driving. How did that go?
No, it was good. Things you do for friends just to get on the show.
You are trying to be creative with the...
No, actually, you know how it is with the morning traffic on Mokono, Ginger Road. Yes. It's really busy. And then I was trying to be here on time, but, I didn't manage. But anyway, I'm here.
Well, welcome back to the program.
Thanks.
We want to start the program from a very interesting point of view, Faisal. I mean, we are on the series of discussing the new Africa-France relationship. What does it really mean from the creative art industry? And this time round, we are looking at the performing arts. Performing arts, many of you made it to Montpellier, for that conference 2021 summit. And many of the people who are there are people who we believe were representing our own interest. But particularly, what does this relationship mean to people who are in the performing arts industry? I mean, you are a programmer.
As we talked about it last week, it's really very important that we look at the relation as a meant to be two-way, not to be like, okay, we are all looking up to France as the bread giver, but we also have to start baking our own bread and maybe build some bakeries. And this is where I think the relationship is really about offering the opportunities for us, the programmers, and not only in Uganda, but the rest of the continent, And as we said last time, that really the idea of opening it up to the Anglophone Africa is a very good opportunity to kind of balance the investment that the French have done in the past. In one way, one would say that it has been a guilt initiative because of what has happened in the past by the French. But at the same time, I think for me as a person and as a programmer, I don't see the bad intentions of what the government, the French government now is trying to do, because to be honest, they have their share of problems as well. But if they look at Africa as a way of engaging with the young people and investing in those young people, I think we should give them some credit. And I think for us as programmers, it's really a good opportunity that we are going to be able to engage at a kind of a leveled ground with the rest of the programmers from the French-speaking countries.
Okay. Talking of that, Faisal, Ugandan art, of course, have been at the forefront of coming up with new things, and we're discussing the emerging and the rising influence of the African art on the global stage and recognition that is coming along with it. What does this really mean from this relationship going forward? Do you think that we're headed to something good? Are we being given the right due, recognition that we need, or the world is just giving us, they say, oh, it's nice, it's good, good, but we're not good. Are we really good that we can now compete on the global stage?
I mean, we've been working. When you look at the history of the performing arts here in Uganda, it's had its, Himalaya kind of process, like up and downs. And this was due to, some of the challenges. Some were political, some were social, some have been economical, but also, I think, technical in a way, that most of the challenges that we've faced are because our peers are not technically capacitated to take the industry ahead. And most of the people are really, they find themselves by chance or by effort to be artists or musicians, and they don't have the technical knowledge or the technical skills that they need to be better. They learn along the way, because we've seen some success stories, and some of the people who are really making an effort to do better, to be at the level where they should be, or better than what they should be. And but when you look at the history, that the performing arts were good in the 70s, in the 60s, and of course during the war between the late 70s and early 2000 or early 19s, there was nothing much going on, because we are kind of in a very unstable environment. A lot of people lost their interest in the arts, and they moved on to other things, or they migrated. As it's the same thing now, we could see with COVID, most of the people that have been locked down for 2 years, just within this period of 2 years, they have kind of migrated to other avenues, because they could not survive this lockdown and the idea that they have no opportunity to do performances. So the same thing, I think, will be happening in the near future. If we want to present art to the French market, to the French audience, what are we going to deliver? And I think that's the question of not only we, the programmers, because we just program content. I'm also always looking out for good content. If it's not good, I don't program it. So if there is no content, because people have left the industry to other things because of the situation as we've all experienced it, what are we going to do? And as going back to our conversation last week, is to see that we can, now we know the opportunities are there. Can we start working towards preparing ourselves to be able, when the opportunity arises, that we are able to deliver the content that is needed to be.
Wow. So do you think that the artist, the performing art, talents are working towards this? Do they understand what this relationship means? Do they understand what France is talking about? Are we taking advantage of this conversation to say, hey, wait, there's now a new market open for us here, new market open in the Francophone countries that we need to be able to take advantage of. We need to be able to start working and preparing the content to actually speak across these boundaries that we were not doing before. Do you see the sense of that?
Yes, you'll be very surprised. Not necessarily for the French, I would say. I don't think everyone now I know working on something is because of they are aware of the new relationship collaboration between France and Africa. I think not so many people know. They heard about, if they did hear about, they heard about the conference, they heard about who went there, but they don't know what came out of it. And it's not really yet public, the information of the outcome is not yet in the public domains. So what is happening here, you will be actually surprised that there is a lot of effort going in creating content. There are so many people doing a lot of stuff here, amazing stuff, and you'll be surprised that in the near future, I think this environment, this COVID situation, has offered an opportunity to so many creative entrepreneurs, creative artists, not all art forms, you know, but at least the theater has been very much marginalized in that case. But when you look at film, music, when you look at fashion, when you look at, you know, new media art forms like visual arts, and there's a lot of stuff that guys have been creating. So we are very happy, and we are very you know, lucky that people have not really taken their time to not do anything, but they have really created stuff. And I'm also surprised to see that even contemporary dancers are going back to the studio to start working. You know, theater is also starting to pick up, but they're very much online. So there's a lot of content. I'm not really worried about that. I think what I'm worried about is the process of knowing how to go about engaging with other francophonic people.
Okay. Sometimes, Faisal, when we create content like this, the content is created for a very small niche market that cut across the wider perspective of the market. And so if this new relationship that France is talking about is open, it means that new opportunity for the, you know, performing arts in Uganda, in Kenya, in East Africa, in West Africa, in North Africa, and, you know, in Central Africa to now start, you know, cross-culturally bringing their, you know, their art form together, from the Anglophone you know, countries to the Francophone countries. We're now not just doing, this is Francophone, everything is about the French-speaking people, and then if you don't speak French, it's up to you. And then it's about the English-speaking people, and if you don't speak, you know, English is really up about you. That's how things have been going on. But I think that ice is being broken right now. So do you think that we understand the importance of this, and we are beginning to create content in line with this relationship or not? And what should be done from the programmer's point of view?
But I think if you really look at the trend of content creation here, you realize that there are those that have already transcended this smaller market that we are looking at. Because, to be honest, Uganda is not a market for theater. Okay, maybe downtown theater, but when you go to the uptown theater, there's no market for it. So where do entrepreneurs or artists or creators in theater look for? They go to the Sundance. They go to the Sinophonic countries, that is the Chinese, the Asian-speaking countries. They go to the Lusophone, to the Francophone. They look at the Anglo. They don't look at very much, of course, the Anglophone, but they really trying to tap into. When you go to the Sinophonic countries, you know, all the Asian countries, you'll be surprised to see how many Ugandans are there. And one time I was very surprised to find a group of friends who were doing traditional dance, this Baksimba, touring China for 6 months, non-stop, like 350 shows. You know? And I was like, how do you guys, and they're there. So content has been transcending. It's just that sometimes people are in a certain environment and they are not giving others an opportunity or to get to know about it and to tap into it. And that's also, I wouldn't call it you know, an issue for many, but I think it would be a good opportunity. If someone knows that there is a market for content here, you could invite others to tap into it. So that's maybe what is a little bit lacking. But really, there is a very good, interesting, you know, diversification of distribution of content here. And many people really want to sell their content because they know they are not going to sell here. Even if they make, even the filmmakers, they're making film, they sell them to South Africa. They're writing scripts, they want to go to Sundance because that's where they know that content is understood, content is appreciated, content is from its raw perspective. Sometimes people, when they see a film, they just see a film. They don't look at the process. They don't really imagine the process. So if you are part of this, you know, understanding, trying to figure out how to deliver something to the market, and you don't know who is able, or people are not able to understand the process, then you have to go to those who understand it. And that's why you find most Ugandans are now, and I'll say this again, I always find it very sad to see that so many Ugandans have disappeared to Europe and America. People who would be great artists here, they have disappeared, you know, and they are living there. Of course, some of them are continuing their careers, others are not because of, you know, the situation, different environments. But it would be really, really sad to see that many more young people are moving out of the country to go and perform in Europe and America and Asia, because there's nothing they can do here. So that content, if it was produced here and developed here and distributed from here, it would give us also a boost in our own content development.
Wow. Well, thank you very much, Faisal. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, Faisal and I will return discussing something around about the understanding of the relationship between France and Africa, the new relationship. What does it mean? We're breaking down the performing arts. When we talk about the performing arts, market or, industry, what does it really mean? Who fits where? What is it? What does it mean? Because we're talking about this thing as a blanket statement, but you're going to find some people are still lost, don't know what to do. But also, we will talk about, this new Africa-France relationship. What does it mean? Is it making sense to most people who are actually in this industry? Do they understand what we're talking about? As the French people also done, the French government done much to actually come out to, further this discussion. How has it been received from the African countries' perspective? Do the African leaders understand this? Are they seeing it as a way of making, creating this industry to collaborate, or they're seeing it as a way of political gain,
But also to add on to that, I think also we need to understand that when we talk about France, we're not talking only about France, the country, but France also has its territories, like Reunion, Dominican, whatever, all these French-speaking under the, they call them territories. They're still under France, and they have like I think early next month, I'll be going to a French territory, which is in the Indian Ocean. So you find that there are also other opportunities. Let's not only look at Paris.
Because it's open up for everyone, and of course we want to come back and have the discussion. So you want to, be part of this conversation? Stay right there. We'll be right back after this. This is the Creative Industry Talk. My name is Eddie Okila, Faisal Kiwewa, and we'll be right back after this break.
Bubu that cannot stand on its own. Bubu must stand on the foundation of self-love. Now, by the time you start saying, buy this our own, it makes sense when you already love yourself. But we seem to have a country, and so they already had that foundation. The Nigerians are proud of themselves. If you ever interacted with any Nigerians, you'll be amazed. I've met Nigerians at airports, and they can be 4 Nigerians, and you think they are 50 Nigerians. There's this attitude they take that wherever we are, we must own that space. And we must own that space without apology. And let the world notice that we are there. We are present. So, and you've seen the same attitude in Americans. From their movies projected through so many things, through so much content, from the brand, from clothing to movies to music. So in a way, when you get exposed to that attitude long enough, you start to move your mindset towards them. So unless it's like a magnetic force of sorts. So we don't have our own magnetic force, and we spend too much time on negativity around ourselves. I think before we even preach Bubu, we need to have a campaign around self-love to reduce the negativity. Every time we see each other doing something amazing. Oh, Eddie has just done this. But he's not doing this other thing. But this other thing is lacking in his thing. Instead of focusing on the good stuff he has done, that's what those people are doing. Even the bad stuff is there. But how often do you see For example, there are street people in America. The whole world knows. Right in California, in the biggest economy in among the U.S. states, there are street people. They call it, there's those areas in Hollywood, I think, called Skid Row, where the street people are not any different from our street.
They're even worse than ours. And these hours here are better. We have food. There is very difficult.
Yeah, you go. But they keep away from that. They even try as much as possible to keep cameras away. It's only the internet today because that is enabling us to see those things. But these have been there for so many years. How much attention have we given to Hollywood content? But we've never seen all of that. So I think for Bubu to make sense, and for Bubu, it needs to stand on the foundation of self-love. We need a campaign around loving ourselves and reducing the negativity, and then we can talk Bubu.
Welcome back from that break. This is a Creative Industry Talk. My name is Eddie Okila, and of course in the studio is Faisal Kiwewa from the Bayimba Cultural Foundation, and we are discussing the New Africa-France relationship. What does it mean? There's a conference that happened in 2021 in Montpellier, and Ugandans attended that. Many Africans, 3,000 people from African continent attended that. And of course the New Africa-France Summit, what does it really mean for Uganda's creative industry, particularly in performing arts industry? What does it mean? Are we taking advantage of that? And of course, we're hosting Faisal today, and as a resident panelist to discuss this. Faisal, welcome back to the program. Sure. Before we went for a break, we were breaking the, are we ready for this new relationship going forward? Is our content being prepared towards that direction? We want to tackle this a little bit more. The French may have talked about this, and at the point where we were going into a break, you talked about the territory is not Paris. It's not just Paris. It extended to where the French, the Francophone, territories, so to speak. Colonies, where people are speaking French, and it is a language. And I've been meeting people from Guadeloupe, been meeting people from different other places, the islands, and everybody's talking about this is a good place for us, a good start for us. But I want to just pick your mind from the person who attended the conference, the summit in Montpellier. The African presidents were not invited, but the young people from Africa were invited. And we know very well from the African perspective that sometimes we focus a little bit more on politics than the content that comes with. What was the sense? Do you think rather that the African president will support their own creative arts industry towards this?
They don't have a stake in it. I think I don't do politics, I'm never interested in the game. But I also know that when it comes to these kind of initiatives, the government's role is very limited. It's only them doing what they are supposed to do or what they should have been doing already, like making sure that the regulations are good, copyright is implemented, and intellectual property is protected. These are the government responsibilities, but they have no stake in the implementation of a partnership. If I want to do a collaboration with a French producer or a French artist, I can contact them on email, and if there is any opportunity for support from the French embassy or the French government or FD, that's our conversation. The government has no stake in it. I think here, for me, what I would like to emphasize on is to see how do we identify the territories, the areas that we can engage in as performing artists or producers or programmers. I think when we talk about the performing arts, as you say, that it's not only music, it's not only theater, but there are so many other things. And how do we know that within France or its territories, there are opportunities for all these different art forms? Which areas support what kind of art forms? Because France is diverse, and also with its territories, but there is a lot of areas that are more known for different things. For example, if you want to do like a market, you know, there is a Midem, which is like Doa Doa. It's one of the biggest French music market. And do people know about Midem? Do Ugandan musicians know about Midem? Or they might have heard of Doa Doa, but do they know that there is a bigger Midem? Now that there is an opportunity for this exchange and say, how can we start preparing our musicians to be able to showcase at Midem? Because it's an opportunity, and now they have even opened the African version of Midem, which has been running online for 2 years. So there is that opportunity of us identifying where can we go, where can we take our content. There is Babalmed in Marseille. It's also a big market that also takes care of performing arts artists from Africa. Joel has performed there. He has had opportunities.
This is Joel Sabunja.
Joel Sabunja has been there. So it's these are some of the areas. Then when we go to theater, there are theater festivals. There are installation, video mapping, events and festivals. There are so many fashion shows. Paris or France is known for fashion. How can we work with people like Stella Tar to start really, because she was there, she knows where to talk to, how to engage. She's in the fashion industry. How can we start tapping into that connection and relation and start building our fashion designers? So start showcasing more in France. So these are the things I think we need to start cultivating and making sure that our artists, our performing industry is aware of these opportunities. But most of the time, when you talk about these opportunities of performing arts, so people mostly think about music, performing in a club or performing at... No, we need to go deeper and also trying to discover new forms of art, because France has a lot of new forms of art. There are so many initiatives that come from there. How can we make sure that our artists are prepared to tap into those opportunities and also widen their scope and know that if you're talking about theater and festivals and stuff, then there are so many big festivals of theater in France, and not only in France but also in the rest of Europe, where people are being awarded each year with lots of money, with lots of good productions. How can we know, how can they get to know about this, so that they only don't look at the Anglophone countries?
Okay. Talking of that, Faisal, you bring a very good perspective to it. And I actually want some people, if you're out there and watching this video, we want to hear from you. If you're performing arts, talent, please share with us your thoughts, your understanding of this new relationship. Do you understand what it means? Do you know what is expected of you to be able to be on the same stage with a French artist or performing art person? Do you understand from a French speaking countries artist performing art from that area? Do you understand what they are doing to meet the expectations of the Anglophone speaking countries in Africa? Do you understand what is expected of you? Faisal, talking of that, it appears that many of our conversation here normally are not looking at crossing the border. We tend to be very comfortable at home here, and so some things come and pass us by. Some things comes like they announce this, and you find Ugandans are still not aware of this. And a few people like Faisal, like Peter, like Paul Charles Rukundo, and a few people like Divine Nabawesi. These are the guys who are more outspoken, outgoing, and looking for these things, like the Bobby Ogwal of this world. The people who went, and people who are opening up to these things. But when they come back, do they have this conversation with these people, with the Ugandans? Do Ugandans know this, or we are comfortable doing our things locally here and, everything else?
I don't know. I mean, I speak for myself.
But you're a programmer. You interact with people who are in the writing industry, people who are in the theater industry, people who are in the drama industry. I mean, a lot of us are doing things locally, and we seem to be comfortable. I don't see much of it going outside.
I think it's sometimes the excitement level. I mean, I had it as well. Not the non-sharing, but at the beginning, I think 15 years ago, when I just started traveling, I was always excited to show myself at the airport and take a selfie in the plane and then send it to wherever. I don't do that anymore. I think it's more like now I know I go somewhere because of a reason, and I'm always interested in going somewhere where I either add value or I'm getting something from there. These two things are very important, and that's why I'm always encouraging a two-way, or at least be contributive. Because for me, most of the time, if you want to go somewhere and you really don't have a reason why you're going there, then you're wasting your time and people's money.
Yeah.
So it's important that maybe not, but sometimes is that why people don't talk about things, because they are overwhelmed by the environment that they get themselves into, and they are not aware of how to deal with it. It's something that we all have to learn, because even me, it took me some time to know, if I go to Womex, what am I expected of? Why am I there? You know, and what am I going to get back? And what is worth my investment? And when we talk about investment, we're not talking about only the money we put in the tickets, but we're also talking about the time. You know, it's an investment. That opportunity cost is very important for the work that we are doing. So if people are not yet, they don't get used to this getting on the plane and off, and then once you get used to that, then you can start focusing on what you're meant to do. But once if you fly once a year,
yes.
It's going to be difficult to get over it. But if you're flying every 2 weeks, then you'll be like, come on, why am I coming there? You know, so this is what this is the difference, and it's very honest. You know, it's very honest that if people are not used to this, being with different people, getting to know different spaces and getting exposed to different areas, then it's difficult for them to go somewhere where they have a reason. And I'm lucky, we are lucky these days that COVID has helped us, because so many times people used to travel to go to a workshop. I'm going to blah, blah, blah for a workshop on human rights. I'm going to go to that. And then they reach there, they go shopping, you ask them, what did you learn? Nothing. And it's because now that they realize, okay, we can do so much online, and we are also learning to also program things online. So it's a whole different conversation. Maybe now we can start bringing things back. But I think for me, what is important is that wherever you want to go, wherever you're going, it's important to know, what are you going to give? What are you contributing to that place, to that environment, to that space, to that meeting that you're going to, and what are you going to bring back? And that will give us some kind of value in terms of making people understand that when you come back home and there's something that you've learned, you can share it with others.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're talking about the new Africa-France relationship, the summit. I want the team to just put it up there so that I can take you through this a little bit more. And that's what Faisal is talking about. The new Africa-France relationship 2021 means a lot. What does it necessarily mean to, you know, for Uganda's creative industry in the performing arts, you know? And we're talking to Faisal Kiwewa from the Bayimba Foundations, fresh from that Montpellier, you know, summit in France. And well, a lot of things were discussed on that stage. They're now saying we are open to come, open for you to come and, you know, showcase your art here. We want to do this now on an equal time and equal measures. It means that a Ugandan can go to France and showcase. Africans now, you know, operate with the Francophone countries, you know, or territories at an equal opportunity measure. As to whether it's going to be a reality, it's really, time will tell. But are we preparing to go there? And you know, something that Faisal has been talking about here, very important. If you are used to boarding a plane once or twice, you know, your experience is not as good as an artist or a performing artist from the Francophone countries who are always boarding the plane. They don't go to take selfies. They go to do things at a different level. Faisal, that said, I want to come back to you for a moment. How do we get Ugandans, particularly from where we sit, you know, to start looking at this from beyond the selfies, beyond appearing in Paris and running around? I mean, I get the sense that of the 3,000 people who went to France, very few of them actually engaged themselves to discuss serious business. Most of them were running, for the first time, they were stuck and running to enter. Just the trend wowed so many of them and took away the attention from the business and the opportunity that could have presented itself to them. And many of them were spending a lot more time for tourism purposes, as opposed to trying to meet the new, you know, minister here or meet the new talent manager there from West Africa to crack the business so that they can board the plane a little bit more, you know, because this was paid for by the French government. It might not come back again for the next time. But how do we help our people here to know that when you get opportunity to go there, don't just go for selfies? No, it's a one chance given to you. Use it.
But I think, you know, to be honest, we all They call it amalo. Yes. Now, and even me myself, I mean, I travel a lot, but sometimes if I go to a city like Paris, I'm like, oh, let me go to the Louvre, let me go to see the park, or let me go to see the Eiffel Tower. It's something we do, but you do it when you've at least done something that is meaningful, or you're going to do something that is meaningful for the purpose that you're there. You're not invited for tourism. You're invited for a certain reason, and not everyone that is invited is going to make meaning to the contribution or to contribute to the conversation that is going on. Maybe you're invited as a spectator, and that's your role. But how do you know how to navigate that? It's a process, to be honest, and it really needs someone to be aware of how to network, how to speak to people, how to pitch your works, how to engage with with people, and also how to do your background research. Who is there. If you're going in a conference hall where there are 3,000 people, where do you start from if you don't know who is there? You get what I mean? So you have to know, like, okay, if there so-and-so is there, Faisal is there, Eddie is there, what does Eddie do? Maybe we have some similar interests. I met so many young people from Africa who are doing stuff. There was a guy who was working in Burkina Faso, and he's doing recycling shoes. I'm like, what do you mean you recycle shoes? I'm like, when your shoe is broken, you give it to me, I repair it, I design it differently, and I sell it back to you. I'm like, that's really cool. And he was getting gigs. He was getting a lot of gigs. And there were like all these young fashion designers, all these young creative, entrepreneurs doing software, games and all that stuff. And I'm like, there is a lot of workforce. There is a lot of human capital that is coming up in this on this continent. But I think for me, what is really important, whenever I travel, and it's not always, but most of the time when I travel, I like to admire. And when I look at something and I like it, I try to imagine it if I can do it. In my area of business, not in road construction or architecture, whatever, but when I see a good performance, when I see a good art form, when I imagine it being here. That's why over the 10 years, we've managed to create new forms of art here that people are thinking like, oh, that's impossible, like video mapping, street theater, like sound art, these kind of things that people have never, you go to a space and you find an artist has, created something that is unimaginable, and be like, how do they come up with this? How can I get this guy to teach some of my colleagues in Uganda? And that's why every time we have a new form of art that we are introducing, we invite like 10 to 15 people. But at the back of my mind, I know one or two will pick it up. Not everyone will like it or understand it. So I think if we I don't know how they call it, like okwegomba. I don't know how it's in English. I like to
go out there, look at things, imagine
and I admire them, and I'm like, I admire them and
see if you can come and do them here.
It's the whole force that keeps me moving, because I know most of the things I like are not possible now. But I work towards that. And that's why I'm investing in my own space, whereby we will soon be having our own Bayimba Center, where we have invested brick by brick, dollar by dollar, shilling by shilling on our own. Because I know that when you go to all these spaces in Paris and you find all these big museums, big theaters, then, in New York and Venice, wherever you go, do we ask ourselves, who built these buildings? Do we know how these buildings came to exist? Some of them were not even government buildings. They were by individuals from their own effort. And maybe later on, 50, 100 years later on, the government finds interest in them and starts taking care of them and opening them up to the public. So what are we contributing to the future of our spaces? We cannot start only thinking around tomorrow, today, and I find that a very big problem. We need to start thinking further. We need to start thinking what is going to happen 100 years from now. What are we going to show? Are we just going to show all these, small, untaught buildings around the city? There's nothing creative about it. But if we had the idea of admiring what other people have, and for me, it's very, very important. And I tell my colleagues, even my donors, like, don't tell me about space that we don't need space. We do need space from ground zero, and everywhere. But we, the people in the industry, have to learn to admire those spaces and create our own spaces that will be representing our country, our spaces, our art forms in the future. Yeah. So the issue of admiring is very, very important. When you have a chance to go to other places, look around and see. And just imagine yourself being part of this new initiation in your own country. Yeah. How would that be?
Well, we're going to take a break. Faisal is spitting fire right now that when you fly out, you must be able to imagine things on a bigger stage and a bigger scale. And of course, we're talking about the new Africa-France relationship, the summit that happened in 2021. What does it really mean to the creative industry in Uganda, particularly this week, today? We're talking about the performing arts industry. Are we taking advantage of it? Do we know much about it? Are we beginning to prepare our work towards that? We're going to take a break, and when we come back, Creative Industry Talk will tackle the final part of the show. We'll be discussing how do we take the advantage of this relationship to showcase our art, and Faisal will be sharing a few more as we close the show. So I'll be right back after the break.
France is happy, joyful, and proud to be France. That's the first thing we can learn from France.
Yeah.
France knows all about France. France celebrates France. France celebrates its history, its cuisine, its language, its music, its culture. So when we want to have a conversation with France, it helps if we also come from a point of celebrating our history, our culture, our heritage, our food, then we can have it. Because the conversation involves exchange.
Yes.
So we have to have something to bring forward. And if we don't yet understand ourselves fully, if we don't yet celebrate ourselves fully, it's difficult to begin to share what
It is a Creative Industry Talk. Welcome back to the program. My name is Eddie Okila, and we're discussing the new Africa-France relationship. What does it really mean? This new relationship with Africa, what does it really mean to the creative industry? Particularly the performing arts is what we're discussing today. Why have we focused series on this Creative Industry Talk, talking about the meaning of this new relationship to the creative arts industry in Uganda and across Africa? It's because creativity is at the core of everything we do. Every time we wake up in the morning, we're talking about creative ways of how do we sell this product? How do we get product A to the market? How do we get product B to the market? How do we attract other people to come and sell our culture to them so that we can make money? You know, it's all about creativity. No one wakes up in the morning and do not know what to do creatively to attract money to them. Value is attracted to where there is value. And of course, Faisal is with me on the program today discussing that. And Faisal, welcome back to the program. Yeah. We are talking about, you know, how do we help Africans to, you know, start beginning to take advantage of this, think beyond this. You have been going across the world, you know, as a festival programmer. You, first of all, we want to break down, you know, the different forms of arts under the performing arts sector. And then you have been going around the world, you know, doing and performing and, you know, creating platform for people to perform as a programmer. What are the processes that you go through when you're picking and selecting that person to go there? And what kind of form of art do you take there? I mean, we could be talking like this, and many people actually don't know that they need to prepare themselves towards putting themselves out so that they can now begin to interact with some of this new relationship that we're talking about. Yeah,
I think when you to do the kind of work that like I do, you need to educate yourself. We are unfortunate that we don't have a school of arts management here in this country, and I don't think anywhere in East Africa. So it's very difficult for someone to understand the scope of the work that we do. But if you want to learn, if anyone who is a programmer out there and who wants to really engage in these theories of learning to do things differently, you have to study. Like, I think the bottom line, the basis of this business is really to study culture economics. When you study culture economics, you will understand the process of understanding culture. It's a very public, good kind of approach. Yeah. You put yourself there as a sacrifice. The way our president said, sacrificed his hand and kept this to himself. Yes. You know, so you also have, no, it is serious. If you have to understand that when you learn culture economics, you understand the basics of arts management, the basics of programming. So when you do that, then you understand that when you put yourself into this job, you are sacrificing yourself for the better good of the rest of the industry. Yeah. And that means that you're going to put your interests aside, and that's what many people don't understand, and put the interests of the industry to be your first priorities. Yeah. When people ask me, why are you always working? Because I decided to make 99% of my time to work. And I decided not to be an artist because I realized that if I am an artist and I want to be an arts manager, I'll not be able to do the same. I put my 99% of the time in my work, and then the rest 1% I share it with the people next to me. So it's a difficult situation, and this is where it starts from. So you understand that the business is a public good. You have to, when you do that, then you can start looking at things. What do you do if you're a public servant? You work for the people. The people are your bosses. And if you are in a position like ours where you're supposed to kind of define the future of your own effort, then you'll start to understand that going out there, if you have the opportunity of going out there to see people and admiring their work and bringing it down to your people, to share it with, to collaborate, to network, to connect with the rest of the world, it becomes a normal thing to do. Yeah. Because you already understand why you are doing it. Yeah. So for me, I think when it comes to these all relations, when it comes to this understanding of the performing arts, as wide as there are so many, but the thing is that, do we even understand our own subsectors of the performing arts? So if you're doing theater, how best do you understand theater? If you do not understand theater that much, but you're doing it, are you helping yourself to study? What kind of learning are you doing? So it's really about people also making an effort to educate themselves, making an effort to find out what is happening within their own territory, within their own area, and also trying to invest in themselves. People don't like to invest in themselves. They can invest, they think finding transport and lunch to go to a rehearsal is the only way to invest in yourself. But educating yourself and also trying to figure out, finding opportunities is a very good way of educating yourself. Okay. And I always ask people, like, if you spend at least 2 hours on Facebook and Twitter, why don't you invest that time in learning about your industry, about where you are and how you can better yourself? So it's really about learning. The performing arts are wide, there are so many, but people really can only benefit from them if they understand better and they can open their minds to make sure that they're only not looking at what they are, where they are, but they're also checking out to figure out what is happening around the world. And if you understand what is happening around the world, it helps you to kind of speed up your own process of developing yourself and doing better.
Okay. Faisal, would you share with us one thing that is very key as we wind up the show? Break down the performing arts. What are the different subsectors under the performing arts that we need to know? Because when you're talking about performing arts, some people may not even know that they're in the performing arts. Maybe they're in the wrong sector of it. Maybe they need to move to the next sector of it. Maybe they don't know. Maybe I'm there attracted because this is what is paying my bill right now. But perhaps my quality, my gifting is really into writing. And if I write, I make other people really look good. Therefore, I need to spend time writing and actually focused on the writing, and then I use this new Africa-French relationship that they're talking about, that Africa now is more open, to begin to seek opportunity to write for other people, cross-border writing, you know, so that my script can go out, then I can begin to travel across the world, as opposed to being a writer and at the same time I want to be a performer, and at the same time so can you break that for us?
No, I think, of course, you can be a writer and a performer, but okay, breaking it down, like, you know, performing arts, we have music,
yes,
we have dance, and dance is also divided. There's urban dance, there's traditional dance, there's folk dance, yes, there is contemporary dance, and then we have theater, which we have you know, traditional theater, like community theater. Then we have the, you know, high-end theater, yes, and then also we have like dance theater, which is more like you find the ballet contemporary performances of like the Nutcracker and all these Mary Poppins and stuff like that. Then we have fashion is a performing art. Even though someone thinking I sit down, I'm not performing, but you create a piece and then you put it on stage for people to catwalk on it. That's a performance. Writing, creative writing, because when you're writing, you don't write for yourself only, but you're writing for people to read and to act, or to, you know, create. Yeah, we have poetry. We have so I mean, there's a lot. We have video mapping. It's a performance, and sometimes you might think because it's visual and video, you think it's a visual art. No, but it's a performance, because video mapping has become more interactive now, and it has become kind of like an engagement between a space and the people. So, and I really like to explore this, and this is something I'm really cultivating with my team. I want to start a festival for video mapping, like light up this whole city, and with different concepts and designs and stories, but it's a very expensive art form, to be honest. And then what else is there? You know, street theater. There is there's a difference between theater in a theater and street theater. When I introduced street theater here, I think 12 years ago, people thought that, you know, but it's a very mature way of acting, because you don't have a script, you don't have anything, you're kind of reacting to, you can have a thought or a theme in your head, but then you're kind of reacting to a space, to the situation. So you are spontaneously engaging with people and stuff like that. So the performing arts are wide, and they're really a lot.
Now, just give us a few. You've talked about quite a varied number of the performing arts subsectors under that. We want to just break it down. Do we have some of these form of arts in Uganda that are known? Because we might find that we're skewed to a very few of them, and we don't know really many of them that are quite very important that could take advantage of. Now that we're talking about, you know, Africa being open to the Francophones, and the Francophone countries being open to the Africa.
I think the challenge with some of the art forms, they're quite expensive and exhausting. When you talk about like video mapping, I mean, if you're a video mapping artist in Uganda, where would you get a job? Who's going to give you a gig? You know? So you are in it for
that's why we're saying the new Africa France is open for this.
I think, and also if you're a video artist here, you really, I mean, it will be really hard for you to get a gig in France or Europe, because they are at a whole different level when it comes to mind, when it comes to skills, when it comes to software, because all these things work with software. Every time there's a new software, there's a new, it's like being on these apps that people use all the time. Everything, all the time there's something new. And how do you keep up with that? So some art forms would be really difficult for some of the Ugandan artists. And it doesn't mean that it's easy for the European or the Americans. It's also difficult for them, but what happens with them is that, first of all, they have the knowledge, they have schools where they go to learn this, and it's recognized. It means that when they come out of those schools, they are respected because they learn that form of art. And then when they go out in the market and they don't have gigs, there is a system that helps them to survive. They are given some, you know, capital or money to survive on, even if they don't have a gig. When they get a gig, they can declare that they got a gig, and then they don't have to claim money from the state. So
gig being business in
So if there is that, if there was a system like that, and imagine, Eddie, or young people who are, and every year there's also these opportunities, like every year there's a lights festival, there is a video mapping festival, there's a, you know, all these street theater festivals. So it means that someone is working, even though they know they are not going to get paid all the time, but they know at the end of the year there is something they look up to. And that gives them the motivation to create that kind of content. But if there is no opportunity, there is no platform for them to show their work, then it becomes difficult for them to be motivated.
That's
to
why
sell it where.
That's why now we're saying the new Africa relationship
but
is opening that room for us to now go and
of
say,
course.
go land,
yeah,
go open up.
Of course, it opens up, but also we have to understand that we need to start working harder to level the ground, to start competing with the content, because also the French artists they also need gigs.
Yes.
So you're not going to come from here and start stepping on their toes because I'm coming from Uganda and this is where I saw the opportunity. They'll kick you out. So what is important is to work on merit, to work on your betterment or your development of your skill. So how do we develop our skills? How do we also start offering opportunity? We are not only looking at taking our artists to France, but we're also looking at bringing the artists to Uganda, the French artists. So for me, what is actually more useful, and this is what I've been doing over these years, is that when I see an art form or an artist and he's good, I bring them to my festival. For the reason, because I know taking one artist from here to France would cost me much more money, and maybe that person will just go and take selfies. But if I bring the other artists here, no, serious. If I bring the other artists here, then there is an opportunity for that artist to be seen by a wider number of other artists. And maybe from those, they will start looking, how did he do that? You know, look at the difference with Maurice Kiria. The Maurice Kiria of 10 years and the Maurice Kiria now is at a whole different league.
Talking of
look
it, he was performing in Netherlands recently, and the place was packed.
No, look at
they seem to
GNL.
understand his music.
GNL has been good since he started his music, and now he's at a whole different level. Exposure, interacting, collaborating, looking at others and how they are doing things, and being in a space that supports the industry that he is in. So we have to look at what do we do as a people in our positions to admire what others have done for their industries, and then that will give us the opportunity to start nurturing our own industries. But if we only look at problems and money here, pressuring people for support when you know they can't give it to you, but you just need to also work on yourself, be able to deliver and create the work that can take you to another level. And that comes with admiring others.
So it's basically what you're saying, Faisal, in summary, is that yes, the new Africa-France relationship is there, but it's not going to be a silver plate platter. I mean, it is still possible that people who are coming from France can take advantage of you because you don't know it and still tell your story their way, and there's no problem with it because it's open now for everyone to do. That's what you're saying, right? Wow, Faisal, thank you very much for coming to the program today. We really have to bring this to a close, but we want to say thank you, and we want to encourage all those people out there to be part of this conversation going forward, and of course take this advantage of some of the things Faisal is talking about and begin to widen your scope, your horizon, your thinking capacity, your creative capacity, and be close to people like Faisal, be close to people who went to France. Ask them, what did you learn from France? How can they take advantage of it? There are many. Uganda, I think, had over 20 people that went, and I think these 20 people are back. If they can share as much information, that would be very great. And Faisal, one last thing as you go. You've talked about GNL, and I think that there is a new Nsimbi band that was created after 5 years of being in America. He's back in East Africa, and I think it launched a new product this year. Are we going to see this new product, make its way programmed on Bayimba?
I don't know. I haven't had a chance to have a conversation with GNL. I know he asked me some months ago for a meeting, but I haven't really had. I've been also busy. But I think it's I admire the work. I admire the level of creativity and the maturity in it, and I think it's one way of returning that kind of talent to our country to inspire other young people. And I think he has a mission to also engage more young artists to learn from him, to be helped by his work that he's doing so that they can also move another step forward. So that's really the spirit of Ubuntu, the spirit of nurturing others, because he's been nurtured. He's gone through a process whereby other people have helped him, and now he's coming back to help others. I think it's a very genuine thing, and I'm looking forward to working with him, inshallah.
Wow. And thank you very much. You've had it from there. So I asked that question because if somebody's doing something important, I think that it's important for us to actually be able to support them, to make sure that, you know, we give them opportunity to be part of that. And I think GNL right now has that form of art coming. There's Kinobe who has a new thing and is thinking of coming back home and showcasing it here. Are we going to see some of this new art coming back to
it's fascinating. It's fascinating because what has been happening is that most of the people, they had nowhere to go.
Yes.
You know, like Kinobe, you know, if he comes here, where is he going to perform?
Yes.
Except in maybe at Indere Center, which is, you know, might be not ideal for his sound.
Yes.
The National Theatre is too small for him.
Yes.
So we need to start thinking for our artists and we need to start thinking like, okay, even if JNL wants to put up a concert, where? Serena, that's not a concert place. Okay, we use it because it's what we have. You get what I mean? So we need to start thinking for our artists, like if we have this talent and we need them, we appreciate them, how do we start planning and preparing for them? And that's not a responsibility of only us in the performing arts industry or the programmers, but it's a responsibility of everyone in the planning, the government, in all this stuff. We need to start looking at all these people, even for example, all these young kids they are sending out to work in the Middle East. What do we plan for them? Okay, let's go, they work for 2 years and whatever they collect, when they come back, what do they find? What are we planning for them? I think it's important that we know, okay, when you send someone to acquire a skill, you have to make sure that when they come back with that skill, they find where they can practice that skill. You get what I mean? So if we have all these great musicians, the Kinobes, the Ntare Guma Mwine, we have you know, JNL now, we have Oscar, we have so many in contemporary dance, in film, in theater, you know, they are all out there making headlines. The Daniel Kaluyas, they are making headlines. When they come home, what do they find?
So it's basically an opportunity for everyone who is investing now to say, let's invest in a bigger platform.
I was actually thinking, you know, recently I was driving around and I saw all these Sudil buildings putting up, and I'm like, because he's an investor and he has an opportunity and he has so many stuff that he's working on in his head. But does the Capital City Authority sit with this guy and tell him like, okay, you're an investor, you're a real estate investor, but this is our plan as a city. As you're thinking of building a hotel here, a mall here, can you also work with us, you know, to create some of the things that we want as a city? So that because it's your space, it's your investment, but these are some of the ideas we need for this city. You get what I mean? Can you think around, instead of building 10, 15 hotels, can also build a theater here? Can you also put a black box here? Can you put a studio here? Can you add it in your plan? That would be really smart, you know, because he's already investing. He's putting in, like I see him, he's adding another wing at Kabira. What if, you know, that space, I would imagine putting a theater there. Instead of those box rooms, you know, putting a theater there. One of the halls and making it perform. Because
you're now speaking like a performing artist, like programmer,
like you have a hotel here, and then people can stay there, and then you have a performing space here. You know, it's
where
in the
people
middle.
can actually come.
Exactly.
It creates that ambience.
And then you can see that, you know, you put one in that area, Bokoto, serves in Tinda, serves whatever, and then if he's investing at Simba Manyo, now he owns it here, then you can also put something like that supports that community there. You know, you plan with the city. I wonder whether they have this conversation, because I don't see it happening.
Perhaps we need to bring this conversation. I mean, well, the Creative Industry Talk is meant to bring the policymakers together. And we've been trying to get the policymakers to come to basically have this conversation with the creative minds, the policy people who are in the policy business to say, hey, come together and let's have a conversation. Maybe we need to engage some of these people. Perhaps some of these things are not out and they are not aware. And it's something that we need to think through. But, well, thank you very much, Faisal.
Welcome.
First of all, for coming to the program today. We've got to spread love. No. The spread love is spread from here, and then you spread the love outside to the rest of the people. And we want to say thank you for coming, and looking forward to having you again back on the show, and of course visiting Lunkulu. If you haven't visited Lunkulu Island, please do. And Faisal has an amazing place there in the island just between Buikwe and Mukono. Please visit Lunkulu Island and see the new theater and some of the fantastic stuff coming into that forest in the island, and of course you will be amazed. That is the moment that brings us to the the close of a Creative Industry Talk today. Until next time, we stay blessed, stay focused, stay creating, stay creative, and take advantage of the opportunities available to you, and of course stay away from the disease that might destroy you before you achieve your dreams. Eddie Okila, Faisal Kiwewa, signing out.
People at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes.
Prince.
Strangers upon the Français, oh, oh, oh. C'est l'Alliance française. La maison des profs, des Français,
c'est l'Alliance française.
Une fille m'a posé une question, pourquoi apprendre le français alors que je lui parlais de la rente bonjour Kampala. Oh, venez, 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 venez.
Venez apprendre le français.
Je vous invite à venir.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
Viens mon frère.
Venez.
Viens ma sœur. À l'Alliance française.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
Venez, venez.
Venez apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française. Venez apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française.
Je vous invite à venir.
Venez apprendre le français.
Oh.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
La plus largement appris
après l'anglais.
Les Français sont langue étrangère la plus largement appris
après l'anglais.
La connaissance du français ouvre des portes, des entreprises en France
comme à l'étranger.
La connaissance du français ouvre des portes, des entreprises en France
comme à l'étranger.
Le français, la langue de la culture,
la langue internationale pour la cuisine,
la mode, les théâtres, les habitués, la danse et
l'architecture.
Le français, la langue de la culture, la langue internationale pour la cuisine, la mode, les théâtres, les habitués,
la danse et l'architecture.
Oh,
oh, oh, I love friends.
Oh, oh,
oh, I speak friends.
Oh,
oh, I love friends.
Oh,
oh, I speak friends.
I love friends.
Oh,
I love
friends.
I speak friends.
Oh,
I speak friends.
I speak friends.
I love friends.
Oh,
I love friends.
I love friends.
I speak friends.
Oh,
I speak
I
friends.
speak friends.
Oh,
oh, I love friends.
oh,
I speak friends. Venez apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française.
venez, venez,
Venez apprendre le français.
venez, venez,
Venez à l'Alliance française.
venez à Kamocha,
Venez
Bukoto
apprendre le
Street,
français.
Blood Sekandé.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
Venez dans la grande famille. Venez, oh,
Apprendre le
oh, oh.
français.
Venez mes amis.
Venez à l'Alliance française. Molière, c'est l'idiot n'a pas pris. En face à pareil à Nakamura. Pourquoi tu penses que les Français tirent la internationale? Que tu sois formé le tour du four du cuisine. Dis-moi ne poser un attentat et là, en pleine évolution.
Venez,
Venez
famille. Venez à l'Alliance française. Venez apprendre le français.
À l'Alliance française.
Je vous invite à venir. Venez mes amis.
Venez,
venez, venez.
À l'Alliance française.
Venez. Parlez français. Parlez français. Parlez français.
Parlez français.
Everybody parlez français.
Parlez français.
Everybody. Bina moke. Bina moke. Bina moke.
Bina moke.
Everybody. Bina moke.
Bina moke.
Bina à gauche.
Bina à gauche.
À droite,
Bina à droite,
Bina devant,
Bina devant,
Bina derrière,
Bina derrière,
Bina devant,
Bina devant.
Parlez français,
parlez français,
parlez français,
parlez français,
parlez français. Venez, venez,
venez. Apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française.
Je vous invite à venir. Venez apprendre le français. À Kamochao.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
À Bukoto Street.
Venez apprendre le français.
Venez, venez, venez.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
Si tu veux parler français, viens à l'Alliance.
Apprendre le français.
Si tu veux parler,
venez à l'Alliance française.
Si tu veux entrer dans la famille, viens,
apprendre le français.
Viens, viens, viens.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
personne des profs, des Français.
C'est l'Alliance française.
Une fille m'a posé une question, pourquoi apprendre le français alors que je lui parlais de la radio bonjour Kampala. Oh, venez, 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 venez.
Venez apprendre le français.
Je vous invite à venir.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
Viens mon frère.
Venez
viens ma sœur. À l'Alliance française.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
Venez, venez,
venez apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française. Venez apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française.
Je vous invite à venir.
Venez apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française.
La plus largement appris après l'anglais. Les Français disent langue étrangère, la plus largement appris
après l'anglais.
La connaissance du français ouvre des portes, des entreprises en France
comme à l'étranger.
La connaissance du français ouvre des portes, des entreprises en France
comme à l'étranger.
Le français est la langue de la culture,
la langue internationale pour la cuisine,
la mode, les théâtres, les habituels, la danse et l'architecture. Le français est la langue de la culture, la langue internationale pour la cuisine, la mode, les théâtres, les habituels,
la danse et l'architecture.
Oh,
oh, I love friends.
Oh,
I speak friends.
Oh,
I love friends.
Oh,
I speak friends.
I love friends. I love friends. I speak friends. I speak friends. I love friends. I love friends. I speak friends. I speak friends. Oh,
I love friends.
Oh,
I speak friends. Venez apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française.
Venez
apprendre le français.
Venez
à l'Alliance française.
Venez à Kamocha.
Venez apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française.
Venez dans la grande famille. Venez
apprendre le français.
Venez mes amis.
Venez à l'Alliance française. Molière, c'est l'idiot Nambabi. En passant par Ayanakamura. Pourquoi tu penses que les Français c'est une langue internationale?